welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to characterize a flip-flop in 5 minutes. Okay, but before going into the Cadence Virtuoso, we will perform on Cadence Virtuoso. But before going into that, we will first try to understand which transistor contributes to setup time and hold time, and what is setup and hold time. So I'm gonna not discuss too much about this, but I'm assuming that you know something about this already, and I just give you some overview out of it, and then we will characterize. So our characterization is not just only about some like it's a very standard method where you can perform each and every flop. We are making it very generalized, and we will perform this experiment soon. Okay, but before going on to that, let's understand uh, what is setup and hold time and what is clock to queue. So first of all, I will draw one standard circuit out of it, and then we will gonna understand. So let me make one TG based flip flop. So let us take one standard flip flop. Here it will be clock bar, here it will be clock, here it will be clock, here it will be clock bar. This DC will be clock, this is clock bar, this is clock bar, and this is clock. This is our output and this is our data. Now let's understand what is the functionality of this flop. So at first, when clock is equal to 0, so when clock is equal to 0, that means clock bar will be 1. So clock is 0, that means this transistor will get off, this transistor will be on, this transistor will be off, this transistor will be on. So at output there is no data coming out of it right now at our initial stage. So Q will be in unknown state. So when clock is equal to 0, Q is in unknown state. So now when clock is equal to 1, at that time clock bar is equal to 0. Okay, so before going on that, if the data will get settled till here, it will capture the correct data. So data should take, so the T setup will be TG1 plus TI1 plus TI2. So if the data will take this much time, then it will capture the correct data. Our clock to Q delay. So our clock to Q delay will be this one, T clock to Q will be TG3 plus TI3, because so when clock is 0, the data will get settled till here, and after that when clock will become 1, as soon as clock will become 1, this will take this much amount of delay and will reach the output. So this is our clock to Q. Okay, now you have understood what transistor is contributing to the setup time. Now I will make you understand using the waveform. Now let's say this is our data. So this is our clock, okay, and this is our data. This is T naught. Let's say this is T1 and this is T2. Okay, this is the data. Now if you see, this will be captured. So this is the data is set up. This is not changing. So this is D naught. So this will get captured correctly with some clock to Q delay associated with that. Then you will get here D naught. Okay, this is unknown state. This is Q. Now after this edge, if you see, after this edge, you will capture the correct data, which is D1, which is D1. But at this time, if you see, this will not capture the correct data, and this can go into unknown state. Okay, so this is our setup time. So we have to find what is our setup time, what is our setup time in any flop. So for this, what will you do? So for this, you have two method. Method one. Okay, okay. We will go into hold time later. Okay, but first try to understand the setup time. So method one, what we will do is, let's say we have any clock. Okay, we have our clock and we have our data. Okay, so let's say we have our data and we are delaying the data till this point for this data. Okay, okay, so this is what we are doing is we are pushing the data towards this clock and trying to find out when this is failing. So let's say this is let's say this is our d0 data. This is our d1, d2, and this is d3. Okay, so let's say first this has passed d0, then d1 also passed, d2 also passed, but at d3 there is a failure, so we will getting a flat line. Okay, so this is our setup time. Okay, okay, so at that moment of time when this is failing, we will calculate the data to clock delay and we will find our setup time. But this method is not very standard because this method will fail in Monte Carlo. This will also fail in some so we have to care about this Monte Carlo thing. Okay, so we have to make sure that we will make this method very very standard, so that can be applicable to any flops. Okay, so what we are trying to do is basically, let's say we have, so in our method 2, this is our method number 2. So basically what we are doing is this is our T setup window and this is our T clock to Q. So when we are increasing our setup, the clock to Q is minimum. Okay, so this is T clock to Q minimum. So but as we are decreasing the setup time, means setup time is nothing but data to clock. So as we are reducing this data to clock at that time, so this is 1.1 means 10% of the T clock to Q minimum. Okay, so from here you can see this will increase, this clock to Q will increase. Okay, so what we will do is we will take this point and we will take our T setup. So what we are taking is T setup will be 10% of the means data to clock at which at point where clock to Q is 10% of the clock to Q min. So this is our this will be our approach. Now let's understand how this method is very standardized and how good it is to do it for all the flops. Okay, so what we will do is, so what we are trying to do is actually, first I will try to make you understand how we are approaching this method. Okay, so what we are trying to do is basically, let's say this is our clock and this is our data. So you make sure that at each cycle this at each cycle this will get pushed towards the clock rising edge. Okay, okay, so let's say if at this point this data to clock is 6 picosecond, then in this edge this will be 5.5 picosecond, and like that we are trying to push this towards this, and at that point when clock to Q looks like this, at this point at 10% of clock to Q we are taking the setup time. Okay, so that's how we will design our methodology according to it. Okay, let me further elaborate this. So this is a chat GPT generated one. So here what I have taken is I have taken 8 picosecond time period for data. This is T data, and if I take so this is I have taken integral multiple, so which is 0.9975 into something around 4 picosecond. So this is giving me 3.99 picosecond. So what this will do, you will see here. So here if you see, I'm given the delay also. This delay is of 2 picosecond. Okay, so now if you see, our data to clock is 2 picosecond here. Now at each cycle this will be shrinking. Okay, so this is the rising case. So this is data is rising here, data is also rising here. That means we this will be captured here. Okay, so uh, this will be captured here. So rising case we will take. Okay, uh, so now if you see, at each cycle this is shrinking. So here if you see, this is reduced to 1.98 picosecond data to clock. Here if you see, this is 1.96. So this is keeps on decreasing, and you will see a point where the clock to Q delay will become very large. So at that moment of time you will calculate the setup time. Okay, so this will be our approach. So at next part we will try to concentrate on how to implement this on Cadence. So I will give you TB. I will not teach you like not side by side. I'm doing the Cadence thing. You will be doing on your own. I will give you all the approach. I will give you all the derivations, and if uh, anyone from from your side wants to uh, share your uh, Cadence Virtuoso TB, you can do it so, and I will be helping you. Okay, so for now this is that's all. Thank you for watching this, and we will keep you soon. And if you have any doubt, you can comment it down. Okay.